I bought a wife in Africa for 5 cows.
That's a classic title, that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos because I was gonna title it Buying a Black Wife for 6 Cows.
Majority of the non-African men are mesmerized and intrigued by the idea of an African woman, but they are not prepared to do whatever it takes to be with an African woman. Also, we as African women dating outside our African cultures, our standards is on the floor when you are dating men that are non-African. When it comes to an African man, you have standards up to Timbuktu. But when it comes to a man that is white or Asian, some of you are dating mediocre upon mediocre. Somebody is old, ugly, uneducated, broke, but because he's white, you give them time of day.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren
and I'm Maureen.
Yeah, so in today's episode, guys, we're going to be reacting to a video of a content creator, I have to say, a palm colored guy who came into Kenya, and mark you, he was doing this for content, all right?
Right. He approached a Kenyan lady and he claimed that he wanted to marry her and further on went to pay her dowry.
Right, he made this marriage practice that is so sacred in Kenya, and he gave the parents of this girl 6 cows, right?
In Kenya, you guys, in Kenya, be mindful. In Kenya, when you do this traditional practice, you're already married to this person.
She's legally your wife. So he
legally and religiously and traditionally and spiritually, she's your wife.
So this man came into Kenya, he did this, but his intentions behind all this was to get views. He could create content, get views, and get a bomb title for his episode. Anyway, we don't want to talk a lot, guys. Let's just watch this episode and then we come back and talk about it. Remember, if you have anything to say, kindly leave it on the comment section, and also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
I bought a wife in Africa for 5 cows.
That's a classic title, that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos because I was gonna title it Buying a Black Wife for 6 Cows. I was gonna go straight for it. I was like, people are already gonna be mad at this.
Yeah.
Disrespect the culture, but it's not disrespect. That family really appreciated those cows that I bought them. And everybody was happy. She still calls me.
Oh, damn.
She wants a US passport.
Does she like you, though?
Does she like me? You know what I mean?
They have started saying the quiet part out loud, and I'm going to need my African sisters, nieces, cousins to listen and proceed with caution, because I know there are some of you on the continent that idolize and put these foreigners on a pedestal. Not all of them have good intentions. Even if this is a joke, you can tell a lot about a person, who they are, by the jokes they make and by the jokes they laugh at. You can never be bought. Never. You as a human being, you as a woman, you are priceless. Whether it's 5 cows or 10 cows, you are priceless. And I know the economic situation in our countries makes it difficult and also makes it easy for people to exploit young girls on the continent. You can never buy a wife for 5 cows. Even if it's a joke, even if you think it's a tradition. I'm sure when you were paying the bride price or when you were paying the dowry, they didn't tell you that you are buying this person for 5 cows. This is disgusting. No matter what way you look at it, it is disgusting to talk of the woman that you are going to marry, to talk of her in that way. It is disrespectful. African women, especially those of you on the continent, be cautious with these foreign men that come with their money, with their little money. Be cautious of them.
I know majority of you have watched Love is Blind, the episode where Tom and Maria didn't get married, thank goodness. But I'm going to use this Tom and Maria situation to make a point that I've been meaning to say. Majority of the non-African men, and I'm saying non-African, I'm not saying race, because culture supersedes race. Somebody can be white or Chinese and they are born and bred in Africa. Their mentality is so different from somebody born and raised in America or UK or China. Majority of the non-African men are mesmerized and intrigued by the idea of an African woman, but they are not prepared to do whatever it takes to be with an African woman. That's why some of them, when they ask them to pay dowry, they're there making noise and saying, oh, am I buying you from your parents, blah, blah, blah. And then they actually go and treat you like a literal property that they purchased, because they do not understand the essence of dowry from our perspective. I do not understand how a man like Tom, as educated as he is, doesn't understand that different cultures have different ways of doing things. You pick an African woman who has grown up in an African home where she has seen her father provide for her mother 110%, and you want her to pay 50-50 and contribute to your mortgage? And the fact that he was making a fuss about buying dinner and buying breakfast and expecting Maria to buy, I don't know what. If a man is making a big deal about buying you a plate of food, do you think this man can provide for you? This is a question I'm asking African women, because majority of us are open-minded enough to want to date outside of our culture, but you're letting people whitewash your culture because they are selling you this narrative of feminism and modern women, and things have changed and the living standards are so high in the West, so you have to chip in. What is that? Why do you think the whole internet is there screaming about Nigerian women and Nigerian men? Why do you think the whole internet has a whole millions and millions of videos talking about Nigerian men, them being generous, being kind, being, good providers? Do you think African women submit to African men for free? Do you think African women are kind and loyal and sweet and they treat their men like in Uganda they kneel when serving you food? Do you think that comes for free? Do you think they do this for every man? Do you think they do this because they just have a man? Ugandan women, when they're kneeling and serving their men, it's not from a point of oppression. It's from a point of feeling proud of how your man takes care of you, takes care of the home, being a good father, being a good husband, providing for you, providing for your family. Do you know that African men actually build houses for their in-laws? Do you guys know that? Do you know that African men educate the siblings of their wives? Do you know that? And that's a woman you want her to come and pay 50-50? That's a woman you want to come and subject her to the standards of a white woman? Do you know that African women pay something called black tax, take care of their siblings back home in Africa? Do you know something like that? You don't. But you want to have this woman give herself 100%, take care of you, pamper you, iron your clothes, make you a warm cooked meal, and still pay 50% of the bills? Oh my goodness. And then you're there saying, oh, I don't want to bring up my daughter for her to be dependent on a man. Oh, I don't want to bring up my son for him to know that he has to provide for a woman. At your age, Tom, you don't know that cultures are different. You don't know that when you go into a relationship, you find a middle ground. You don't know. You want everything Maria provides, the laughter, the smile, the happiness, the warmth. But you still want her to act like a white woman. It will not happen. And Maria, I hope you're not going to marry this man. He's not going to come back in the corner, sweet talk you, and then you go back together. Oh my goodness. And this is the thing that I also want to say. Also, we as African women, dating outside our African cultures, our standards is on the floor. When you are dating men that are non-African. When it comes to an African man, you have standards up to Timbuktu. But when it comes to a man that is white or Asian, some of you are dating mediocre upon mediocre. Somebody is old, ugly, uneducated, broke, but because he's white, you give them time of day. You marry them, you want to date them, and you want to act as if everything is fine. And to make matters worse, you're still paying 50% with these old, ugly, haggard humans. We are also to blame because men like this will never respect you. If their own people don't want them, you're the only one who chose to be with them. How do you think they're going to treat you? They're going to think you're crazy because everybody else doesn't want to be with them. Apparently, you don't see what others see. My message when it comes to African women looking to date outside of our African cultures, date a man that is considerate, date a man that is kind, date a man that is educated enough to know that cultures do exist. People do different things in different cultures. Doesn't mean that one culture is above another culture. No, it's a man that understands that, you know what, I might not see your culture the way you see it, but I understand where you're coming from. So how can we move to be in the middle? You know, how do we find a middle ground where we both feel accepted, loved, and appreciated for being who we are, and we find a middle ground for both of us to exist in peace? Some of you African women are dating men that are selling you this narrative of modern women and feminism and making you whitewash yourselves. Some of you are here behaving like white women, changing accents all over the place, wanting to speak a certain way, wanting to act a certain way because you want to be accepted. Hell to the no.
So guys, for those who do not know who Maria and Tom are, the second speaker speaks of them.
Yeah, so they're a couple from a very famous reality show in UK, I think. It's UK, called Love is Blind. Let's just watch this clip and then we come back and talk about it. It's for context, it's related with the first video.
Now is the time for you both to decide if love is blind. The two of you chose to get engaged and spend the rest of your lives together. I'll pour out my soul. Tom, do you take Maria to be your wife? Will you celebrate all of life's joys and triumphs with her and be her source of comfort and support, no matter what challenges life may bring? And do you vow to cherish and nurture your love for her for all the days of your lives? I hope I can swing and dance, deliver. I love you. I just feel like right now is not the right time for me. We've had some differences in values, and I haven't had enough time to really understand how those differences would affect our life day to day.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode. You know, when we started doing reaction videos, I think this is the first time we really got to interact with a lot of foreigners because of the kind of content we do, Maureen.
Right.
And a lot of Black Americans and other foreigners, even Jamaicans, they kept on telling us, Maureen and Maureen, why is it that Kenyans love a lot of foreigners, especially palm-colored people, right? And let me just say, I think we were in denial because I used to defend my Kenyan people and say Kenyans love everybody, not just palm-colored people. But then I came to realize that kind of opened my eye and I started being more observant. And I also realized Kenyans, not only Kenyans, when you look at Ugandans, when you look at Nigerians, Africa in general, they're all like,
they love whiteys.
They love whiteys, and if they could get married to snow bunnies, I'm telling you, Africa would be very soon. If we continue like this, Africa is going to turn into
like Brazil and Argentina.
Exactly. So you guys, I think it's very important for us to caution our African people, okay?
But you know, right now in the day of social media and technology, I don't feel like right now there's anybody who should be cautioned because they see what is happening through social media. People who go ahead to marry palm-colored people, they do it out of their own ignorance. Their own free will and ignorance. This point that it has reached to, I don't believe that
you get what you deserve, right? You get what you're asking for.
You get
Because
what you're
you
asking
guys,
for.
tell me why a palm-colored person, somebody who does not even respect your culture, okay? Tell me why these kind of people would come into our country and do such a thing only for them to get to benefit, make money off of our culture
by
and,
getting views. Making money is not bad. Wanting to get views is not bad. But at the end of
Where
the
are the
day,
intentions
try and
coming
understand this culture and respect this culture. Because the lady who was speaking here, I feel like she spoke very well. She said, when this guy was paying the money for the dowry and all of that to the
he
parents
didn't
of
even
this
pay. He bought them cows, which is according to the culture of
the girl, he didn't even ask, or neither was he told by the parents of the girl that we are selling you our daughter. No, that is not how it happens here in Africa. So if you decide to partake in a ritual where you're going to marry someone from Africa, where you're supposed to pay traditionally, you're supposed to pay dowry, try and understand how this dowry work. And guys, I know even most of you who are watching this right now, maybe your perception of paying dowry, just like many,
doesn't apply.
yeah, just
It's
like
different
many palm-colored people, y'all think that when you come to Africa, you pay the dowry, you're actually purchasing someone who's going to be your slave. That is not how dowry is. It's meant to work.
And she's not
in
a piece of
Africa,
furniture that you're buying
adding
to
on
put-
to your collection of whatever acquisitions you have in your house. If you're going to pay for a dowry here in Africa, what it symbolizes for Africans, most especially parents to the girl and elders of the family to the girl, is that you're appreciating their efforts for raising that girl
in the manner that you
in
did.
the manner that you did.
So let's talk about something else that he said. He talked about his wife, the lady that he paid dowry for, that she keeps calling him to date. From what I understand from this interview, he already left Africa, and he's talking about how this girl keeps calling him. Do you know these are the kind of girls who are left back in the country and they never get married
to
because in their brains
they
in their
already have
hearts,
husbands.
yeah, but this guy was so insincere and so ingenuine. He left and didn't even make it clear that was a show he was doing for his people back home.
Who knows? That is what we are alleging. We don't know if he actually made it clear to the girl or not, but we are assuming that he did not. For her to keep calling him like that, we are assuming that he did not clarify his stand or position when he was leaving Africa. That girl that girl will not get married in her own. Was she in a village or in Kibera, Nairobi?
I think
somewhere. She was in Kibera, Nairobi, somewhere. In that neighborhood, people will be asking her, where is your husband? She'll be asked by her own parents, where is your husband? Why doesn't he come to take you? But this guy didn't have the intentions to marry this lady. He only had the intentions to create content with her, and then anyway.
Another case happened in Uganda where I feel like mentioning his name because he's a very popular content creator, palm colored of course. But I'm not going to
before you mention his name, tell me so that just on my ear. Yeah, he's a big YouTuber.
So this guy, he's a big YouTuber, okay, and he really loves going to Uganda, right? So he was in Uganda and he went to this Maasai community where he asked to, in that community, how a man chooses a girl is that the man wrestles with the girl, and then if
the man will choose the girl, and the girl will also, if she likes the guy, before you get married, they will enter into a hut. This is a very traditional and community,
and
they're not yet developed. They're
exactly.
in remote areas of Uganda.
Yeah, so where you're required, after you guys have chosen each other, the elders will prepare an area where you guys will go and wrestle each other, but nothing in a hut, nothing serious like physically body harming people, but
body slamming type.
It's not body slamming, but it's like you try and hold each other down. So if you manage to put the lady down, then it means
you're strong enough to handle her in marriage.
Exactly.
So they give her to you as a bride. So
Right.
you all go away so that you can start preparing for the traditional rites, bringing of dowry and stuff like that.
So this big YouTuber,
knowing full well that was the ritual, that was the practice,
and performed this practice. He won his wife, got the lady, he got engaged to the lady.
No, actually, it was going. If the wife beats you, she's fit to marry you because because that girl she beat him, so they had to go for a second date, which he didn't turn up to.
He did not turn up to, and he kept saying in his video,
she's the one
"Oh man, I feel bad because she
doesn't know she's never gonna see me again.
I'm never going to, I'm never going to take her to the
come
US
back here,
And I'm like, why do you feel the need? Because this person is very naive. They don't know you're doing this for YouTube
content.
views. In their minds, they've gotten married to a mzungu,
and now they think that they're
going to America and all that. And this is where we normally say, in Africa, they teach and show Africans the perception of a palm-colored person being very rich, a palm-colored person being someone who does not suffer, someone who has a lot of money, someone who saves people. That is the perception Africans have. So when you come to Africa and you find a lot of these naive girls, they want to marry a white person. It's probably to get away from poverty, or
for the most part, and also enhance, according to them, enhance their skin color.
Right. And you guys,
babies.
Tell me how culture shock normally hits such ladies. Let's just say they find a palm-colored person, and this palm-colored, by American standards, they're not even like fit to marry because they can't afford their lives. They don't have money. They're poor, in other words. So this girl, when another was giving her story of how she met older man mzungu from America. He was living in Brooklyn, New York. And when you in Africa, when they show movies,
actually gone to any part of America
or leave alone see that such places in America existed, because in movies
and she was a village girl who had just recently come to the city, and she was doing housework. She was a maid, house manager,
Right. So this girl, she's never, the only things we normally see in movies that were showcased, now there's YouTube you can see, but back then the only sites you see is Los Angeles, the beautiful buildings,
or
New
in
York,
Manhattan,
exactly, Manhattan, the skyscrapers,
or the
Central Park, just beautiful sceneries from
beautiful,
when you watch Spider-Man, beautiful sceneries from exactly. So
York.
This lady thought that was America. I'm telling you.
So when this mzungu married her, he used to live in the Bronx, guys. And the way this lady was describing that place, it was the worst parts of the Bronx.
Right. She didn't believe that even America have such. Only that America is good at marketing.
Until
we digress.
Yeah, we digress. We did. Yeah.
Thing is, what I'm saying is, if you're going to marry from a different culture, like the second lady who was speaking, the Moroccan girl from Love is Blind, and Tom, that palm-colored person, he came, he thought he was getting a beautiful wife, right?
Yeah.
Which you are. But do you know their culture?
I wish you could have taken time to know the culture of Maria.
You don't expect someone to subscribe to your culture automatically when you yourself have not taken time
or you're not ready to subscribe to
her culture, to understand where they're coming from. Because when you understand her background, you'll understand some of the behaviors that she comes into the marriage with, But I don't know, guys. You let us know what you think about this episode.
Yeah, and also leave us a comment on what you think about this episode. Also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so that you can know when you're posting our next episode, right?
Right.
We'll see you on our next episode.